Hi, good evening, and welcome to Varsity, Maine Live for the Kennebec Journal and Morning Sentinel, where I don't work anymore. I'm from the Press Herald, and my name is Travis Lazarzik, and that's the magic of this live stuff. Joining me is a guy who does work at the Kennebec Journal and Morning Sentinel, Mr. Bill Stewart, the sports editor, and from the Sun Journal, Will Cramlick. Our guest tonight is a senior at Monmouth Academy. In the fall, he helped the Monmouth Winthrop football team reach the Class D state championship game, and he currently is a member of the Winthrop Monmouth cheerleading team that will be going for a state title on Saturday. Jake Umberhind, welcome to join us, and you're the first double guest, first guy we've had
Yeah.
back. So welcome.
Mhm. Thank you for
Um,
having me.
when you guys work on your routine, how many times do you think you've done it before you get to like regionals last week or states?
Yeah, that we constant like every practice about three full outs of doing the whole routine. But we dedicate practice like doing full outs and doing jumps like for an hour on end. We probably get like 20 full outs by the time for regionals. So it's just like it's muscle memory by then.
Are you breaking it up and they're like, all right, let's work on this section and then this section, or
Yeah, usually we dedicate a practice to just doing dance and then cheer, and that'll be 2 hours worth, which you may think is crazy because it's only like 30 seconds combined. But
you've got to be precise.
yeah, you got to snap the motions, know the counts, make sure everyone's in synchronized, everyone knows the counts, and yeah, we really pound pound the counts in and get the motions strong.
So, Jake, you obviously are a standout football player, and we hear a lot from players and coaches about how it takes a certain type of mentality, to play football. Is that also true about competitive cheering?
Yeah, it is. It's different mentality, but the same type of determination to want to fight to be first. That's a really good question. Um, I feel like it may be hard to see like no progress during practice, but you just got to keep on fighting to make sure that you get your point, like get your jumps perfect, get the stunt hit strong. I feel like it's a different mentality to like repeat the same process until it's perfect. I think it's a very strong mentality that you have to have.
Uh, you know, Last week at the Class D regionals, what was it like having a crowd there to cheer you on and cheer in front of, and just that atmosphere again after not having it last year?
That is the most important thing I feel like for cheerleaders around the state, around the country. It is a whole different world when you have even just like 10, 10 parents just watching you or 10 teachers in while you're doing practice. You just get all giddy, you get nervous, but you have like the pressure um, of hitting it and like making everyone proud. And I feel like having the crowd there for regionals really helped us and really like made the adrenaline start pumping, and we made sure to hit the stunts perfect. But we were really missing that last year because it didn't feel like we hit our state uh, state routine. We just like said, okay, let's go, 3, 2, 1, and when we just clicked the button, recorded it, and then we all just sat there and like realized that we just did our state meet. It it doesn't feel the same without the crowd, but it feels great now. It definitely takes like some getting used to again because it's been 2 years from performing in front of a crowd. We haven't had anyone really to watch us and like cheer for us, but as soon as we hit the floor, it kind of had me flash back into sophomore year, kicked it into gear, and killed the routine.
Jake, you recently announced that you're going to be attending Massachusetts Maritime Academy for college, where you'll play football and continue your career there. How did Mass Maritime kind of get to the front of your decision making process and be the place you want to continue?
I've always loved engineering my whole life. I've ever since like kindergarten, I've always loved building things. Legos really like soared me into the engineering field and STEM. So I've just loved building since I was a child, and my dad working at BIW at the project or the planning yard, being a project manager, him like explaining what he's doing at work and what systems he's doing really like intrigued me and kind of led me to this point to choose marine engineering, and then having Maine Maritime and then Mass Maritime be like the two options. Having Maine Maritime be close to home or kind of close, but as soon as they dropped football freshman year, I chose Mass Maritime, and I think that's like the perfect fit for me.
Great.
So Jake, what is it about cheering that helps you become a better football player? And then conversely, is there anything that you do in football that helps you become a better cheerleader?
I think cheering helps me become a better football player by really focusing on like the back and like the triceps and the forceps or the forearms, just in a muscular way. But then also making sure I'm still limber, because as a lineman, being flexible is like can make or break a lineman. So make sure that you are flexible really increases the potential of a lineman. And just being in football in general just makes you strong. So as soon as you go into cheering season, you're already primed, ready to toss girls and do high jumps.
When do you feel like maybe you'll miss cheering, and when do you think your mindset will start turning back to football for college next year?
I definitely think after our state meet or our state routine, it's probably going to be a few weeks where I'm like kind of missing my cheer days because it's really fun. It's a nice group, nice tight knit group that we all have fun during practice. We laugh and we make sure to hit the routines when we need to, but we always like to have fun. But as soon as a couple weeks go by, I'm hitting the overdrive into football and making sure that I'm hitting the gym some more and getting my cardio up and making sure that I'm ready for preseason football in August.
It's all going to come pretty quickly. I know that. Jake Umberhind, thanks for joining us.
Actually, Jacob, hold on one second. Jacob, I actually have, not to cut you off, Travis, but I have a couple other questions, but I have to admit that they're not from me. Okay. So I'm switching things up a little bit here. Okay. But these last few questions are actually from your mother, Lori, whom I chatted with earlier. Okay. So you got to take your time and you got to answer these correctly. All right.
Okay.
Your mother wants to know, okay, and this is totally legit and true, that once you're in college and you're washing your uniform, she wants to know, do you know that you cannot mix colors and whites because, and I'm quoting her right now, she doesn't want you to be that kid.
I'm glad that she gave me that great advice. That's I didn't know that, but now I do.
Now you do. And then lastly, the last question she wanted me to ask you was, is there any one piece of advice that you've received from your mother that's going to stick with you?
Oh gosh, now I gotta think. I don't know. Throughout my whole life, I think she just said "suck it up." So, so I've lived by that motto: just suck it up, go through the pain, whatever you're doing, just keep going, and you'll achieve greatness. I think, and I may take it lighthearted, but really in the back of my mind, I think just suck it up and do what you have to do to carry on.
Okay, I think that's good advice for all of us. Thanks, Jake's mom. And Jake, now that we've thoroughly embarrassed you, thank you this time for real for coming on for the second time. Good luck Saturday at States, and good luck in the future.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll now move on to Athletes of the Week. Starting with, from Oceanside High School, Maddie Ripley. She became the first girl to win a Kennebec Valley Athletic Conference Wrestling Championship when she took the 113-pound title at the conference meet in Augusta. Bill, that's a pretty big feat in a tough conference for high school wrestling.
Yeah, no, this is, I mean, it's super impressive. I mean, and what's impressive is that she went up against the best in the KVAC in her weight class, and that's boy or girl, and she took care of business. I mean, that's really impressive, obviously making history. And we're seeing a lot more girls get into high school wrestling, over the last few years, and that's just tremendous for the sport. But yeah, kudos to her. I mean, that's just an incredible effort, and making history like that, that's a real big accomplishment.
Definitely. Uh, Morgan Zet's Telstar girls basketball. Zet scored 40 points in the Rebels 62-31 win over Wisconsin on Saturday, and she added 22 in a loss to Dirigo on Wednesday. Um, Andrew Caceres, Edward Little Levitt boys swimming, he had wins in the 100 butterfly and 200 individual medley and swam a leg of the first place 400 free relay, earning boys swimmer of the meet and helping the Red Eddies clinch the KVAC Class A team title on Saturday. Will, um, big win for the Red Eddies at the conference meet. What do they look like going into states?
What about the EL swimming you said?
Yes.
Yeah, just adding in that Levitt contingent in has given them some depth and some talent. But it starts with Caceres, who's kind of rewriting a lot of the records there at Edward Little, which some of those records he's breaking have dated back to the 90s and the 80s.
Wow.
And he's just getting better every year for them. So definitely, if they're going to do anything at states, it's going to be him.
Okay. More swimmers: Andrew Layton, Sawyer Wright, Gaffney McDonough, and Finn Weaver won the 400 freestyle relay, the final event of the night, to lift the shipbuilders over Belfast for the KVAC B crown. Olivia Bradford from Cheverus, Old Orchard Beach, Kennebunk, and Wyndham girls hockey. On Wednesday, Bradford joined 7 other girls named as semifinalists for the Becky Schaefer Award given to the state's top high school senior girls hockey player. And then she went out and scored 3 goals as Cheverus defeated the Gorham co-op team 10-3 in a South quarterfinal. The other Schaefer Award semifinalists are forwards Carolyn Audette of Edward Little Levitt, Kaylin Gendreau of Scarborough, Kate Finney of Falmouth, Leah Landry of Lewiston, then defenders Lily Gish of Lewiston and Eve Martineau of Edward Little Levitt, and then finally Scarborough goalie Ariella A.J. Sweat. Congratulations to all. Camden Hills' Carla Upham won the 50 free and the 100 butterfly at the KVAC Swimming Championships. Kylie Spagnardi of Edward Little Levitt Poland girls hockey, she scored a natural hat trick in the Red Hornets 8-2 win over Gorham Bonnie Eagle Massabesic Westbrook Friday on Saturday. Sonny Johnson had a triple-double with 15 points, 14 rebounds, and 10 steals for the Seacoast Christian boys basketball team in a 33-26 win over Pine Tree Academy. And Forest Hills senior Mason Desjardins scored his 1,000th career point in a win over Vinyl Haven. He joins his brother Parker as a 1,000-point scorer for Forest Hills. Got a long way to go to catch Parker, though, who scored 2,000 in his career. Sarah Moore from Mount Ararat, Lisbon Morse, Lincoln Academy girls hockey. She scored all 4 goals in Mount Ararat's 4-0 North quarterfinal win against Yarmouth Freeport on Wednesday. And Will, back to you. Sarah comes from a pretty good hockey background family, doesn't she?
Yeah, her uncle is Greg Moore, who also grew up in Lisbon, went to St. Dom's, went to Maine, and played there and was a really good player there, and then had a pro career, and now he's a pro coach. And Sarah showing that the talent still runs in the family, and she's become a really good scorer for that team. And she's deadly, and against any team she can put it in the back of the net.
Okay. Lizzie Gruber, her name comes up quite a bit on this show from Gardner girls basketball. The Tigers 6'4" junior center poured in 35 points to go with 23 rebounds in Tuesday's win against Lawrence. Their third of 5 games Gardner played in the final 6 days of the season. They're playing Skowhegan right now to end the regular season. And Gruber added 18 points in Wednesday's win against Morris. Bill, Lizzie Gruber just feels like she's just scratching the surface of how good she can be.
Yeah, and when you look at the stats, when you see these box scores, and you see and you see her play, and you look at the numbers, and your first reaction is like, is this right? I mean, 24 rebounds, 25 rebounds a game, but it's game in and game out. The last 4 games, she's averaged about a little over 20 points a game and 17 rebounds. And JC Christopher of Skowhegan is probably the best player in KVACA this year, but Gruber's in that conversation, for sure. Next year, that conversation is going to start and end with her.
Oh, for sure. Okay. Liam Gerepi from Scarborough boys basketball. He's a sophomore forward, and he scored 23 points in the Red Storms' come from behind 54-52 win Tuesday at Massabesic. Scarborough improved to 4-13 with a third straight win after starting the season 0-10. And then finally, Chelsea Gravier from Greeley girls basketball. She scored 16 of her 29 points in the third quarter as the Rangers handed Wells its first loss of the season on Saturday, 54-51 in Wells. So congratulations to all the athletes of the week. We have varsitymaine.com polls. You can see these on varsitymaine.com, and they are voted on by sports writers for throughout the state. Starting with girls hockey, because they're the only thing that started playoffs, is number one, Cape Elizabeth, Waynfleet, South Portland with 4 first place votes. Number 2, Lewiston with 2 first place votes. And then number 3, Cheverus, Old Orchard Beach, Kennebunk, and Wyndham. Number 4, Mount Ararat, Lisbon, Morris, and Lincoln. And number 5, Scarborough. These teams are all going to start playing each other here as we get to the regional semifinals. A big one on Saturday night is the Cheverus Co-op versus the Scarborough team. Both of them coming off of pretty easy wins in the first round. So some good hockey playoff action on the girls' side coming up. On the boys' side, Edward Little with all the first place votes, all 6. Number 2 is Bangor. Number 3 is Messalonskee. Number 4 is Greeley. And number 5 sneaking in is the Old Town Orono team. Bill, this Messalonskee team just kind of keeps on chugging along.
Yeah, it just keeps doing what it's doing. We're really going to be curious to see what it does here once you get into the playoffs, and and see what I mean, I think the general feeling is that they are the team to beat in B North. There's a lot of a few tough teams at the top of that conference, but we'll see. We'll see what happens in the playoffs here.
Okay. Girls basketball poll. I have a feeling that this is going to change next week. Number 1 was Oxford Hills with 7 first place votes, and then they went out and got upset by Bangor hours after the poll was released. So number 2, Skowhegan with the other first place vote, and then followed by Cheverus, Brunswick, and Gardner. Just Oxford Hills loss just kind of shows how deep Double A seems to be this year.
What was that again?
I said Oxford Hills' loss to Bangor just kind of just proves how Double A is just very deep.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some games where Oxford Hills is just dominating, and then Bangor's their kryptonite. Adam Robinson from the Sun Journal said, and it's just I think they're still trying to figure out what they need to do in some of those big games. Those 2 games with Cheverus they had were tough, but yeah, Double A North and even Double A South at times is so deep, and on the boys' side it's the same way. It's really
Right.
fun to watch those teams really duke it out like that.
Yeah. And finally, the boys basketball poll on number 1's Nokomis again with all 8 first place votes, followed by number 2, South Portland, number 3, Edward Little, and then went a tie for 4th, Brewer and Oxford Hills. Bill, Nokomis got in all 18 games. Now they've just kind of sit back and wait for the playoffs to start in Class A North. Can you tell, is there a KVAC game this year?
Not sure about that. Don't believe there is. But yeah, I mean, in A North, I mean, this is going to be one of the most fun tournaments to watch. I mean, the potential for the semifinal matchups that you're here, should all the top seeds go, and that's a big if, but
Sure.
should they all go, there's going to be some really intriguing matchups that you're going to see some really big crowds at the at the Augusta Civics there. That's going to be really fun to watch.
Oh, definitely. And then with tonight, the regular season ending for basketball, these matchups should start to come into focus in the coming days. Games that we're looking forward to in the coming days, like I just mentioned, that Scarborough versus the Cheverus Co-op and girls hockey Saturday night at 6 at True Marina. Cheverus beat them twice in the regular season. The second game was just 2-1. So Scarborough can maybe break that streak and advance to the regional final. Bill, is there a game or anything that you're looking forward to in the coming days?
Well, not so much games, at least for us in Central Maine, but certainly, we have some regional championships coming up here. We've got some in wrestling. We obviously have the state cheerleading right in Augusta this weekend. So there's, we're into this really busy and pretty exciting time for high school sports for sure.
And Will, anything in the Lewiston area that you're looking forward to?
Talking about girls hockey, on Saturday we have the Red Hornets, which is Edward Little Levitt, Poland. They're taking on St. Dom's. The St. Dom's Co-op is taking on Lewiston in girls hockey. Lewiston's the only girls team that didn't play yesterday because there's only 7 teams in the North, where there's 8 in the South. So Lewiston will try to make its playoff run, starting on Saturday against a rival at the Coliseum. So that should be interesting. Yeah, the girls hockey, should be interesting, especially as it gets to those semifinals and regional finals and stuff. And we'll see how the basketball all shakes out, but it's a lot of good regions in basketball this year.
Yeah, it's getting to be that busy time in mid-February that we all love. Reminder that you can all check it out at varsitymaine.com or pressherald.com, sunjournal.com, centralmaine.com, timesrecord.com, forecaster.com. We'll have all the high school sports coverage you could possibly want or need. Thanks for joining us this week on Varsity Maine Live. For Will, for Bill, for Jake, I'm Travis. Thanks for being with us.